borders with blue or hues of blue, tones of blue. Where does blue start? Is it dark? Is it pale? Is it on the lilac side? Does it have a little bit of purple in it? You know, it's quite difficult, especially when you have plants and you have different light levels, to understand where they all are in that spectrum. I'm Rosie Hardy, this is Rosie Hardy Gardening, and I have put together a selection of plants which are described as being blue on their labels, and a lot of people will go, but that's not true blue. Well, it's quite difficult, isn't it? Because if the sun is very bright, then the blues look completely different. If it is a duller day, again, they look different. At morning, the flowers open up blue. By the time they get to the afternoon and the evening, they've gone more lilac-y, more purple. So it is quite difficult to actually have true blue right the way through when you are talking about plant material. Because take, for instance, this Nepeta. This is Nepeta Bramdean. Now, the bracts at the back have got a red purple hue to them, whereas the individual flowers are blue lilac. So when you put the two together, it gives the effect of blue. So in this border, all of these plants want to be in full sun, and they will all grow together. So what have we got? We have got a Sisyrinchium down here, really beautiful, and this varies in colour, but also when it's in tight bud, the reverse of the petals are much bluer than when the petals are open, and it opens up when there is a lot of sunlight. It doesn't like being open at night time. It closes up, opens up when there's a good amount of sunlight, and then gradually as you get to the evening, afternoon, it starts to close back up again. So when it's closed up, it's a much bluer colour than when it is open. It's more of a purple when it's open, but it does have lovely strappy leaves, and those have got a blue tone to them. So that comes within my remit of blue hues. Then we have this fabulous hardy geranium. Now, hardy geraniums, they come in all colours. This is a very pale one, and this is blue cloud. Now, this is on a second flowering, so it can get a little bit taller, but it's on a second flowering. It had its first flowering in the late spring, early summer, given a haircut, comes back up, and in the late summer, autumn, it will keep on reblooming for you. So that is a lovely one, but it's very, very pale. And again, this is another one of those ones whereby actually earlier on in the day, this looked much more like sky blue, and now it looks lilac-y blue. So it does depend on the time of day that you are looking at it. Then we've got this fabulous yellow foliage here in the middle, and you're all thinking, how have I managed to get yellow foliage in the middle of blue? Well, this is a Caryopteris. It has blue flowers. It's not quite there yet. It's got lots and lots of buds at the top here to come out, and that is a bright blue on top of that yellow. So you get some lovely contrast in these borders, because actually when you put just blue together, unless you put some contrast in there, it can be incredibly flat. Hence why I've got the spiky foliage there of the Sisyrinchium, lovely flat and yellow here of this Caryopteris, the lovely cut leaf and the more spidery arms of the hardy geranium. That then goes on down here into this foliage, which is blue. It's a grey blue, and this is Festuca glauca Elijah blue. So when you look into it, it has a blue hue to it, very much a silvery blue, and that's where you are with that. So all of these things will go in really dry conditions. Then at the end, we've got an Aster, and this is a true Aster. This is Aster September Glow, and that is a lilac blue. And when it's open with its flowers, it looks fantastic. It likes a sunny spot, absolutely no problem at all. And then this one just starting to go over. This was much more electric blue when it was in its full glory, and this is Eryngium big blue, so that would get up a lot taller than this. Has lovely foliage again, which is got veining on it, so you've got contrasts all the way through. What you have to remember is blue flowers are not all out at the same time, so if you're wanting a blue border, it is going to have spots of blue at certain times of the year, which is why you've got to build in the interest of foliage and other things. This one here, this is Salvia. This is Salvia little Spire, so you would know it as Russian sage or Perovskia. So this is now a Salvia, and this one, little Spire, doesn't get too tall, it doesn't get too big. Silver foliage again, so that's really great. And then again, you've got this contrast. The fluffy buds have a slightly purple hue to them, but the flowers, individual flowers, are much more blue. So that is why that is in here as well. So when you look at each individual one, you're going to go, well, that's not a true blue. But I can see true blue in a lot of things, but then again, it has blue tones, and that is what I'm really trying to say. So as long as you've got the blue tones, things will go together, and those blue tones will go right the way from pale blue through blue into lilacs, into violet, and maybe with a tiny bit of purple at the end. Try not to have too much purple, but that violet and blue together with that slightly lilac and soft tones, you can mix them in. But remember, put in silver, put in a little bit of yellow, put in foliage differences, going from, you know, really spiky foliage here on the Eryngium. You've got the grass here of the Festuca. You've got the lovely upright stems, but the round, soft green of the Aster. You have the cut, divided foliage of the Geranium, and there it's airy stems with lots and lots of flowers over the top. The yellow of the Caryopteris, and then that is going to be bright blue in about another 3 weeks. That will be coming out. A lot of these will be starting to go off. You've got your uprights of your Nepeta here, Nepeta Bramdean, and then you've got your upright and the lovely leaf-like foliage here on this Sisyrinchium, and that will flower and go over. The flowers on this, the individual flowers, last about 2-3 days, then the next ones come out. And the beauty of this Nepeta at the back here is that this is a grandiflora, and the grandiflora types do not produce the same oils that the other forms do, which means that it is not an attractant for the cats. So if you don't want other people's cats coming into your garden, or even your own cats from rolling in and molesting your Nepetas, then use a grandiflora type, because they don't go for it. And this holds itself up. So you've got uprights, you've got flats, you've got daisies, etc. That's what gives you the form and the texture within this blue planting, this blue hue, because otherwise, if they were all daisies, it would be incredibly flat. If they were all spikes, it would be incredibly flat. Silver, yellow, uprights, bit of grass in there, and you can make it look really interesting. And remember, all of these are for full sun. So I've told you about the form and everything else, but I haven't told you how big each of these plants is going to get. So the little Sisyrinchium here at the front, as a clump around, it's only going to get to somewhere around about 15 centimeters, 6 inches. Height wise, around about 10 inches or 20-25 centimeters. The geranium there, blue cloud, that is going to make a clump of about 18 inches, 45 centimeters across. With its arms and its flower, can get up to 2 foot, but it doesn't matter at the front of the border, because as I say, it's quite wafty, so you can see through it. So that would be 60 centimeters. The Festuca here, the grass, that's at around about its maximum, somewhere around about a foot by just about 10 inches. So 30 centimeters by about 20 centimeters, that will be that. They do flower occasionally, but they're mainly grown for their foliage. The Aster here, it is at around about its correct height there, so somewhere just under 2 feet, say 50 centimeters, just under 2 feet, and about a foot round, so that is 30 centimeters. The Eryngium here, foliage base will get to, again, about a foot, 30 centimetres. Then the flowers can go up to 2.5, maybe 3 feet, so somewhere around about 75 to 90 centimetres for that. The Perovskia, because as I said, this is little spire, it's been bred so that it doesn't go spreading around all over the place. About 18 inches, 45 centimetres across. Height-wise, around about 2 feet, so 60 centimetres, so much smaller than other forms. Salvia, little spire. The Caryopteris, well, you can clip those to whatever you want them to be, but they aren't huge. So again, they will make a spread of around about 18 inches to 2 feet, 45 to 60 centimetres, and height-wise, just around 2 feet, so 60 centimetres. So they're a little bit wider sometimes than they are tall. Really, really great shrub, and you can just prune them back, keep them in shape, whatever you want them to do. And then lastly, the Nepeta Bramdean, it makes a good clump at the bottom, so somewhere around about 30 to 40 centimetres, just over a foot, and then again up to about 2 feet in height, 60 centimetres in height. So if all of these would go in the border, they're not for tall, they're sort of more for the front to middle of the border, but full sun and relatively free draining soil for all of these plants. Hope that helps you. Thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.